Hello and welcome, fellow Marvel fans, to the Snark Industries podcast. I'm John.
And I'm Remy.
And we invite you to join us as we work our way through every Marvel TV show, movie, and crossover. Meaning if there's a Marvel character on screen, it's fair game. All categorized in the temporal order of their setting. By the time we're done, we'll have built a complete start-to-finish timeline of the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. To accomplish this goal and to have a bit of fun along the way, each episode will be split into two parts, the Watch Party and the Deep Dive. If you're hearing this, you found one of our deep dives. This is where we slow things down and take a more pragmatic, in-depth look at a piece of Marvel media. We'll walk through the full plot, explore connections to the wider MCU and Marvel Comics, highlight Easter eggs, unpack lore, and of course, give you our own personal thoughts and feelings. Although this episode stands on its own, it is designed to complement the Watch Party. So, if you haven't watched along with us yet, we highly recommend starting there first and coming back here for the full breakdown. Most importantly, we want to thank each and every one of you for joining us on this incredible journey. We're not affiliated with Marvel in any way, shape, or form. We're just fans who are passionate about these stories and these characters and wish to share them with everyone in a new and exciting way. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of Snark Industries.
Hello and welcome to the Deep Dive for Snark Industries. We just got done watching Lost and Found, Eyes of Wakanda, Season 1, Episode 3. John, you want to tell us what it was about?
Yeah, so we continue the Eyes of Wakanda's central theme of going and recovering Wakandan artifacts from different cultures and different times and then bringing them back to Wakanda. So, we've seen a couple of things already in the past, and now ultimately here we are set in China as things start off in the 1400 CE or AD era, and we immediately see, though we do not know who just yet, we come out to find out later, the main character, Basha, is laying in bed with a woman there in China. He gets up and sneaks out, sort of creepily, going about nonchalantly speaking to everybody, and ultimately finds the piece of vibranium he's been looking for, and it's stuck in a dragon's head that he can't get it out of. And so he decides the best course of action is to just steal it and take it back to Wakanda, which he gets a stern talking to from our favorite Carlton impersonator, Captain Ebo, who, talks about how taking back the Wakandan artifacts is important, but taking others' cultures is just as bad as what was done to them to lead them to have the need to go after these artifacts to start with, which I think is a good way to sort of reach out and touch base on the different cultures and how they can exist, but coexist at the same time. But turns out there was a stowaway on the airship that Basha used to fly back to Wakanda, and it becomes evident to anyone who's got any sort of knowledge of these things that it's the Iron Fist, though we don't know the identity of the Iron Fist. It's obviously not the one that most people are familiar with, but still, it does not take long where Basha runs into this secret person who ends up being the woman that was in bed with him to start with.
Wah, wah.
Jorani, who apparently found him when he sort of crashed, whether it be by accident or design, in China, nursed him back to health, and shared clearly some intimate butt-touching moments, as we discussed in the Watch Party, just to have him turn around and ultimately steal a sacred relic for people. So she came back to get that, and what ensued was them sort of trying to have this sort of moral dilemma of who's right and who's wrong. This is my artifact, this is my artifact, these are my things, this is my things, I was there first, etc., etc. I think it was clear that the moral high ground lied with Jorani, the Iron Fist, but I think that they were trying to get a little bit more balance to that with how they were presenting everything. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, they fight, she wins, and ultimately pulls the vibranium tongue from the dragon's head, gives it to him.
Very easily, by the way.
Very easily. Keeping the dragon herself and returning the vibranium artifact that he was looking for, and in which case everyone wins. And then as we all get a nice happy bow on it as the High Councilman comes in, clearly ready to break all this down, and they just say, oh, no, this was just a training exercise, which we'll see later is a theme in Marvel. An unfortunate training exercise. And they all kind of just go off about their way, happy with what they have procured. So, that's the breakdown of the show. And now we kind of go into how does it fit in with the MCU as a whole, as we're slowly starting to build a little bit of this foundation. And this carries the same sort of weight in that as the previous Eyes on Wakanda do. Not a lot is the short answer, other than just showing some history of Wakanda that ultimately doesn't have a lot of effects on how the MCU forms as it goes, but still an interesting story to be told, and expanding on that lore, I think is never a bad thing. So,
no, completely agree.
But yeah, so that's that. And why don't you tell us how it ties in with comics and all of that fun stuff?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, it is in the main MCU, so it is in the proper universe. And the tie-ins for the comics, obviously we have the Iron Fist coming into play here. And this specific episode kind of expanded upon the 2006 run of Iron Fist by Matt Fraction, Ed Brubaker, and David Aja. They created the Iron Fist mythos to stretch back to where Danny Rand was, I believe it was the 66th Iron Fist. This kind of builds into the mythos and actually gives you yet another one of those 66 characters that we don't know, which is kind of cool.
That is cool.
Beyond that, of course, we have the War Dogs. We have everything that was built into the 2 previous episodes. And I actually noticed that Bast was mentioned, which is a fun callback to when we learned about him in the first Black Panther movie. So, but yeah, as far as comics go, and I think we did call out a couple of Easter eggs as well. Definitely saw the lion's mask from episode 1. And I think there was a necklace on the table in the background that was the necklace that was retrieved by Bakai in episode 2. So kind of cool.
That is very cool.
So what were your thoughts on the episode altogether?
So, and I told you before we even started this, and I'll say it again proudly, this is actually my favorite of the Eyes on Wakanda series. It sort of deters a little bit, I think, from the standard MO where you have this Wakandan hero that's going and doing this great thing for Wakanda and taking something back. And it kind of pushes it sort of the other way and shows, that these things can have meaning and can have a good, healthy place elsewhere. And so you kind of see that juxtaposition with Basha and Jorani. And ultimately, in the end, each of them still keeping that sort of sacred piece of their own heritage. But it's not just this very cut and dry, I am Wakanda, this is my thing, I'm taking it back for my people, it was stolen from us. It's more of a gray area, and I find that to be very interesting. Yeah. And I also think Iron Fist is very cool, and to see those sort of martial arts entered. And when we mentioned at the watch party that the choreography throughout all of the episodes has been wonderful, but to really see a lot of focus here on the next level of martial arts that you get. I mean, you have pretty much all of these comic book heroes that we all know and love has some capacity for the martial art, of some kind or another. Yeah. But to really see that sort of what I kind of say the upper echelon of capabilities in the Iron Fist I put in here, I thought it's refreshing and good. Not that this show drags or anything. It's only a few, or I think 4 episodes long total, but still it is just a nice change of pace in that sense, and to be able to see that and have that gray area for me, I thought it was really well done. I really liked it. It is, like I said, it's my favorite of the series so far.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. So far, of the 3 that I've seen, because I have not seen the series before now, this has been my favorite. I really enjoyed the last one with Troy. I thought that was a lot of fun, but this one felt more grounded. This one felt more like it was trying to teach us something. Yeah. The good old school.
And that's part of the fun of what these stories are. It's not just entertainment, which of course they are entertaining. It's not just cool action sequences, which they do have cool action sequences, but
certainly,
I think that there's a deeper level and a deeper theme to all of it that really can bring another level to what these are about. And I think this episode does a good job of that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I really enjoyed that the character of Basha himself kind of came around in the end. He's like, oh, well, maybe I should actually think about the fact that these relics that used to be ours have gained significance over time in the time that they have not been here, for the 1,000 years that they have not been in our custodialship.
I felt of the growths that we see of the different characters through the episodes that we've seen so far in this series, I find Basha's to be the most compelling. And that's part of the reason I like the episode so much, is because it does seem almost more realistic what he does and how he is like this sort of hot shot, like, I'm going to get these artifacts, I'm a war dog, whatever, I'm awesome.
He's the Will to our Carlton.
yeah. I mean, really, that really was the vibe. And and then to see him kind of grow into something more than that and have that realization, just like you said, I think is very well done. So
Yeah, completely agree. But yeah, that wraps up Lost and Found, episode 4.
That's the deep dive. Lots of butt touching.
See you next time, folks. Thank you for joining us in this episode of the Snark Industries podcast. To join the conversation and further explore the Marvel Cinematic Universe with us, head on over to snarkindustriespod.com. The link will be in the show notes. But with that, we will see you in the next adventure.
Yeah, we going.